Hello, 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 guys. I hope you can listen to me very clearly because I'm seeing just a double audio.
It's
One
good.
minute, let me fix that.
Your audio is fine.
Okay, my audio is good.
Yep. It's fine with me.
Okay, cool. So, first of all, I welcome. I think we have a ladies' powerhouse tonight, which is really good. So we get a
Definitely.
lot of energy of Shakti coming to us. So we are more powerful now, more empowered, and our topic is not too far from it. But before we move forward, let me just introduce you, Nivras, my co-host today. Um, she is operating from sauna, so we asked her not to switch on the video to be the first one on a live broadcast. So and but This sounds cool, but what sounds more better is the tool she is developing. And Brilliant is an absolutely brilliant wallet for RWA. But I don't want to give any intro and spoiler. Let's first hear from her what Brilliant is about and why she thought about this product. And before we move to other guests, Nevras, please, mic is yours.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I think it's an icebreaker. They told me 5 minutes in that we will be on video. And I was like, guys, I can't do video. But that's a different story. So thank you for having me and super happy to be here as co-host. So Brilliant is how we define it is like your all-in-one financial hub. So it really is about the future of wallets, if you think about it. We are in this extremely interesting journey, in my opinion, where every one of us who've been in this space for long have witnessed there is a change. Like if you go back a couple of years ago, getting into Web3 was pretty hard. Like I always joke with the team, like you almost have to have a PhD in cryptographics to just understand how to get into the space. And that's really where we enter Brilliant. So we've created we're calling it like super app because it is aimed to be more like a modern UI, but it is really a multi-chain smart wallet with account abstraction. So within like 10 seconds, you have a wallet, and it's as easy as a centralized exchange, but it is decentralized. So it's not, it's your full custody, you own it, and everything there is within your power. The vision for Brilliant for me has always been I want to I want a user to be able to come to Brilliant and do everything they need in this new financial way of investing in a way, right? Like you can hold crypto, you can stake crypto, but also add in the real asset aspect. So you can hold real assets because we partner with Compilot for KYC, KYB, and AML. It's going to be pretty easy for us to allow you to also browse real assets and be able to hold them onto your wallet as well. And I think the whole space with self-sovereign identity, cellular data, which is, in my opinion, pretty sure going to emerge in a couple of years, is also going to be to take part of that. So how do you create a really interesting UI where a user can come to us, tell us their interest, but also take part of this new way of investing? And that's really what Brilliant is about.
Just to simplify for everybody, when we talk about account abstraction, it's basically you feel like using a very Web2 wallet, what without anything, any features you losing from all the Web3, right? So it's the
Yeah,
same
I
wallet like
mean,
you're seeing like in MetaMask, but um, you don't have to stress to remember those seed phrases or not have a story to tell over a sauna or over a drink, um, right? That
no,
you
but that's
lost it.
exactly what it is. But I think that I think like I read somewhere that about 90% of people joining the space actually shy away from it when they get to know the seed phrase dilemma, right? It's like, okay, so what do you mean? If I lose these 12 or 24 words, does it mean that all my money is gone? Yeah, exactly. That's what it means. So how can you make sure you still have the security of of a MetaMask, but you don't have to have that additional layer? I think the industry hasn't won it. Like by all, if we're just talking serious here, uh, I've been in this space for many years now, and the industry has always been very anti using logins such as Gmail. So we allow you to use your social media provider. You choose what to choose, what you want to log in with. But let's say you choose Gmail. That's been something that the industry in Web3 have been very against, and that's why we haven't seen it before. I think as the industry matures and as you really, really mean, let's have mass adoption on chain, you have to give that. I mean, you have to give people uh, a way in that they feel comfortable with, and then you can teach them about an industry, and maybe at that point they then switch over for seed phrases, which we also have our Bullion. So we cater to both Web3 and Web2 users, but the idea is to really get mass adoption on chain, and I do think we need to see more of it in the industry without it having to be a centralized exchange.
No, that is brilliant because, we were training a lot of our farmers in Indonesia to use wallets. The moment we talk about seed phrases, that's it. The attention just drops like seed phrases. Okay, this is complicated. So,
Yeah,
so what they do, they copy the seed phrase and they send through WhatsApp to their friends. I'm like, okay, this has to go.
yeah.
This has to go. There is
But
no
also,
way.
like you say, like the security there is just crazy. So we created a super secure system that becomes unsecure because everyone is just storing them all over the internet, like either on Google Drive or to their friends on WhatsApp. So that also needs to be talked about, that many people don't understand that you need to write these down and really guard them. And no one, like as soon as someone finds them, that's over. You've unlocked your wallet to someone.
Mm. And also, you have features like IBAN integration, for example. So bringing more the Web2 like features into your wallet. Tell us something more about that.
Um, just say that again. The Web2 features such as yes, sorry, yes. And now I get what you said about. Yeah, so we also have like super seamless onboarding. So on ramp, off ramp is something we also are exploring more on ramp, off ramps options. We really want to like make sure we can reach out to the majority of locations geographically, and then you have to partner with several on ramp and off rampers. So the ideas there have seamless like I really like to follow a user end to end. So when I joined, it was like, well, think about it. How do you join? If you're from Web2, you need to, in a way, inject money, so fiat money, and then convert that into crypto, whatever assets you want to buy. But then we also want to add a later stage, which is a card and tiering system. That's what I'm really excited about. Because at the end of it, okay, you've done your investment. Maybe you want to then swap some of the investments you've done to stable coins, say USDT, and then you want to go to your grocery store and you want to buy the groceries you have. So then we've followed a user end to end throughout that journey. And that's very important for me as well.
Beautiful. I think create the adoption, but create also a habit that the user stays in there and not really look for options. That's brilliant. Um, so now I think we should also give the mic to other guests so that they can introduce themselves and their project before we go to some core questions. And today's topic is going to be about tokenomics, so it is slightly complicated, but we will try to see that we are not too intimidated by the likes of Merlin and Mark, and we would keep simple as much as possible. Okay, so let's go to Felicia. Please introduce yourself and project, and yeah, mic is yours. Take it.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, this is Felicia from DMC Foundation. DMC builds a scalable AI computing and a storage infrastructure for decentralized AI. I mean, for AI inference and personal AI assistant. And the DMC AI is one of the DMC ecosystem just launched in the January of 2025 on the BNB chain. So I will focus on this project for this time. And DMC AI leverage the advanced AI and the DePIN server powered by our ERC 7585 protocol to ensure the data ownership through the scalable storage and the secure the content transmission. And basically, there are kind of two part of it. One is decentralized computing power. We have a rental, like a platform, provide the computing capability for creating the private knowledge base and the training the personal AI module. For example, here they have a supplier and a demand side on the both side, and the people who have a GPU, like a NVIDIA H100, they can come to our rental platform to rent it out and earn our token. And in another way, that if AI agent company, for example, some customer have already have the model trained and want to fine tune, they want to looking for the cheaper solution, they can come to us, and we provide this service for them. And so that is basically what we're doing right now. Thank you.
Beautiful. Ping, you want to take it?
Oh, sure. Thank you for having me. I'm from SkyX Network. In a nutshell, SkyX is a decentralized IoT data network that is designed to collect, process, and monetize our environmental data, and at unprecedented scale. So we do deploy a network of advanced weather and environmental sensor devices. And right now we have already launched the SkyX 100, and our users are ordering this DePIN devices already and implementing in their backyard and collecting the super local weather data at the moment. We do have our flagship station is called 300, SkyX 300. This will enable real-time collection of hyperlocal weather and environmental data. So that's basically it.
Beautiful. By the way, one of the best looking device DePIN existing.
Yes,
so,
we are
congrats to
also.
you guys.
Thank you. We're also building on Peak blockchain, if you have heard of them, and yeah, so we're really proud to be part of the communities.
We are also building on Peak, so we keep seeing in ecosystem SkyX all the time.
Yes.
Thank you so much and welcome.
Thank you.
Let's go to Mark. Streamer is OG in town, right? So Mark, please, still we want you to introduce.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much for having me on the call. Apologies for being a bit late. Yeah, so quick introduction to Streamer, as you say. It's a bit of a sort of OG in the DePIN space. So it was funded in 2017 from an ICO. And just to quickly summarize what Streamer is, you could think of it as middleware or infrastructure for DePIN. So it is a DePIN and it serves the DePIN vertical. So we work with other decentralized protocols and centralized applications to support serverless real-time data delivery. So think of Streamer as a peer-to-peer network, whereby multiple nodes in the network are sharing data in real time, and in doing so create a mesh overlay of data pipelines. And it's important because we don't want to see a DePIN landscape which is using AWS and Google, and instead of using those centralized instances, they should be coming to technologies like Streamer to remain decentralized. And I'll pause there because I could talk about Streamer for the next hour, so I'll just give it a quick overview.
We all have to, but thank you for the short intro, and then we will dive into some other topics as well. So, but Streamer is one of my favorite. So yeah, so good to see you here. Last but not the least, Merlin.
Yes, hello. I am Merlin, the head of strategy from Agri Network. And in short, I will also say a little bit about me before I talk about the project. And this basically, I am, like Streamer is an OG in projects, I am an OG as a private user. I'm sitting at 2,600 self-owned devices.
where like only around 90 are in my house, and the rest is hosted across Germany, some in Japan, some in India. Basically, any project that has hardware, I own it. Like, for example, also SkyX, like 5 devices. While on Streamer, they don't have their own hardware, but anyway, I'm running Streamer nodes on refurbished HP PCs. Like, I am getting to everything user side, and this is ultimately what also brought me into ArcGreen, because ArcGreen is a project that focuses as a DePIN in majority about decentralized energy and renewable energy. And this means like our core essential product is a smart meter that is put on people's solar they have on their roof. It monitors and qualifies a certain type of electricity for green energy, like carbon offset. And this is like our core essential product. And then we have also a more simple product as an entry product for users, which is a smart plug, which is consumption tracking, also including some carbon offset aspects in it. And this is, for example, what I also run on other devices, like on my GeoDNet DePIN devices or on my Streamer nodes. Like, everything runs over those smart plugs, so everything is done absolutely green, tracking, offset, all included as a product. And lastly, we have many virtual products that are like, in easy terms, if someone has solar on his roof and he has one of our miners, a part of this is fractionized, so people can just use their wallet to purchase a small fraction 100-watt digital miner, like a remote miner. And those are our products, and everything comes together in our big goal to offset all historic Bitcoin emissions from 2009 up to now and running. And this is like sort of our flywheel that brings all our products together in a gamified way. So people do carbon offset specifically on the track record of Bitcoin. And this motivates everyone and gives them different rewards. And this is like ArcGreen in a nutshell.
Beautiful. And it's always a pleasure seeing you here, Merlin. And
Thank you.
every time there are a lot of great inputs from you, and then you give me some task as well so that I do my homework well. So thank you so much. So today we should be talking about tokenomics, right? And one of the nightmare, although like in front, and thanks to those coin market cap and CoinGecko, every tokenomics seems so simple in front, but there is the complexity goes even deeper when we talk about projects like Streamer, project like Arkin or SkyX, where a lot of deep in participation is involved in the project, right? Because that's where knowing the demand and supply or balancing them is a tough task. It doesn't look from the tokenomics that's visible, but behind the scene there is a lot of work. Now we would like to know even some of our young entrepreneurs that are watching you and they are building in DePIN. They would be also very interested to know why right tokenomics is important and what are the ingredients you think from your opinion. A question to anyone, actually. Please just raise your hand and go.
I'll kick off with some thoughts just to get the conversation going. So, you know, I've made this point many times in AMAs across the last couple of months, but if we take a step back and we think about where DePIN has come from, you know, in the last bull market, Helium really proved the model for building the supply side of DePINs very successfully. And I think to everyone's surprise, they went out there and I think they built a network of almost 1 million nodes at the time, just under 900,000, something like that. It was really quite incredible. And I think the DePIN space was quite naive at that point in time. I suspect a large amount of those node runners within Helium didn't actually know what the network was doing. You know, it was a LoRaWAN network for IoT. And, you know, LoRaWAN's a fantastic technology, but it's got a very specific use case. And of course, whilst the supply side of the network grew very fast, the demand just wasn't there. And, you know, we've famously seen kind of the collapse of the Helium token and the rebirth of it as they kind of pivot towards the telco industry, and they've done a fantastic job of that in fairness. But the point I think is that for entrepreneurs in the DePIN space who are coming through, I would always say start with the demand side. Think about, okay, what is the underlying business model here that means that value is coming into your tokenomics, because it is the hardest thing to really crack and to really master, and it takes time. It's building a business essentially. And I think there's a very cynical approach in DePIN, which is let's go out and launch a DePIN project, put 500,000, 1 million nodes and miners into the ecosystem, and then it's only a matter of time before those projects are going to fall flat on their face. So I think the smart projects that will be here in 5 years' time and 10 years' time are the ones that are thinking very, very hard about the demand side of their ecosystem. Tough nut to crack, but it's crucial for longevity. And my view is that if you can get to that, then the tokenomics fall in place. I mean, what are tokenomics within DePIN? They are a currency that allows for transaction of value between the supply side of a DePIN and the demand side. And just to explain streamer tokenomics in very basic terms, what our tokenomics are designed to do is to incentivize node runners like Merlin from around the world to come in and supply latent bandwidth, and we reward good node runners and good nodes for good behavior. If they're consistent and they don't drop out and they're low in terms of churn, they're the behaviors that we're trying to foster and encourage on the supply side, and that's what you get rewarded your APY for. And if that model works, and that APY can support a really strong supply side, then of course the value in the tokenomics comes from the demand side and supports that APY essentially. So I always think of these things in quite commercial terms, in that the tokenomics sits in the middle between the supply and the demand side. And what I see in the DePIN industry consistently is supply side is easy, but demand side much more challenging.
Do you like it? Yes, sorry, go ahead, Felicia.
Yes, just equal to Mark comments. Because currently I'm in the East Denver, and I went to the DePIN and also AI, side events, and you can tell that there are some of the traditional hardware company come over here, try to looking for the tokenomic model to make it more worthwhile. So this is a very, very funny thing to see. But we do see some of the DePIN projects starting to making revenue. So everybody know that currently it's not the good market; it's still in the bear. Sometimes in the Q1 of the year, each year is always kind of low. But some of the DePIN projects said they're fine. They can they're still making revenue. They have some users already, so they can do some other things like ads or whatsoever to make revenue from this stage. So that's supply side is quite it's kind of the Web3 things. The miner mining the token with the device, basically like that. And the demand side, actually, as a DMC, we're ecosystem, we're still working really hard on that. Like, for example, we realize demand side is really crucial. And one of our eco project called Fogworks currently is working on some like a AI product. We try to bring in, like we're trying to, everybody know that their Mac Mini, they have the chip, M4 chips, but it's for AI, but the storage is quite small. So you can now even train your own knowledge base on that. So where our R&D team is working on design the we call that a foggy PI. That is the storage base to provide to work with Mac Mini. That means we call that Mac Mini plus foggy PI is your personal AI, kind of train your personal data out of the files. and then you can use that as your private things. So this is so as our product landed on 2022, we are striving to looking for something really can be used for the ordinary users. So, but as you said, as we all understand, on Web3, the project start with the supply side on the tokenomic model. So we're still working really hard on demand side, try to really find the use case for the normal people. But I do see the AI agent really is the kind of the point to work together. So we're looking forward for that, and also encourage the DePIN entrepreneur to start with something really useful, and useful for ordinary people, and then bring the tokenomics later on. So that's my suggestion. Thank you.
That's brilliant. So in many ways, you see that the tokenomics need to be a bit more dynamic than the existing very static tokenomics, right? So at some point of time, you will keep modifying that as well while you progress as a project.
Yes, exactly.
Um, awesome. So, King, want to add something and how you do in SkyX?
Sure, sure. I think, my opinion, when you look at tokenomics, the word is coming from decentralized crypto projects. We call it, other than Bitcoin, Ethereum. After Ethereum, we call them the shitcoins, right? So the tokenomics, it's coming from, like, the supply side is how do you make your communities attracted to your project, and enhance, you create this kind of tokenomics for rewards to your communities, and how do you grab their attention, how do you use meme coin or the conception of meme to continue the hype of your coin price. And this is what we have seen, traditional projects in the Web3, like when you start a Web3 project in the past, and which is not really sustainable. And we've seen a lot of projects have been failing, and because there's not a real demand there other than the hype. And then you look at DePIN, and DePIN is actually a very transparent, and also, like, it already has a useful usages, because you talk about devices, hardware devices. You have a SkyX 100 installed in your house. You're collecting the data, and then you're already participating in a network that is contributing to the network, and this is already the supply use case. And then when the demand comes, you can have two ways to look at it. Either is by the traditional way of Web3 projects, by staking, governance rights, and etc. Or you can look at, how do we bring the Web2 business model into this, and you will look at how do I collecting this data, put in the marketplace, doing B2B business. And so this is what we are looking at SkyX, and how do we incentivizing our users to get many rewards by using and by contributing your network data contribution. But then also we are working on the other side with traditional businesses, even governments in the future, to using this decentralized hyperlocal data that is useful on another scale. So I think deeping in the future it's all about deeping, because we can really see that we can decentralize everything in the future. So that's my take on this.
Okay, while you are generating the demand, do you see the demand is a bit more local focused, right, regional focused, or you see that the data buyers are more global buyers. And so when you are generating supply, it really doesn't matter to them. What's the narrative now?
I think the demand will be global for sure. And we can start from the regional, we can start from even, how do you putting the devices into mapping a specific region that it's lacking this kind of data. And then we'll see what we can do, use a local, regional like demand data model, and then apply the same thing globally in the future. Not sure if that answers your question.
That does. That does. Merlin, you want to take the previous question because I know you are itching to answer tokenomics.
I am itching to answer, but I want to actually take the conversation a little bit more general and more populistic, because like if we really look what is important on tokenomics, the most important part is what actually tokenomics nowadays shouldn't be. And they shouldn't be your means to bootstrap a project and raise endless capital anymore. This is how things worked 4 or 5 years ago. Like AI is suddenly escalating everything and constantly changing the speed of development. Also, the markets are this. Like the first projects, and many of them failed, took this chance of DePIN and in the crypto market as a capitalized bootstrapping, building everything up. But now likewise investors, the markets, and the users all have become much more experienced. And while tokenomics are one of the most crucial parts, it's very hard to judge from the outside. Like, I don't know if things get easier or over time or more complicated, because you have now more examples than ever to look at from other projects and other companies, but also they are not really comparable, because often it is something totally else in the equation that maybe ruined everything or maybe made the success. Like there are very strange arguments to be made. Like some projects maybe had super good tokenomics, but they oversupplied the market with hardware, and now you have more miners than the use case can sustain. Likewise, like I would make a very strange argument. I could probably go with Mark down a whole road that on the one side, Streamer is super accessible because you don't need a device and you can repurpose any PC. But probably the reason why Streamer works so good is that it's so complicated. Like, honestly, from a user perspective, compared to other plug and play devices, the challenge is the barrier to entry, and all the minute parts you have to professionalize kind of have a healthy, slow growth. On the other side, like demand and supply is important, it was probably a good measure of measuring the demand. Like everything nowadays has to focus on demand first, and in very simple terms, like you need a business, whatever the tokenomics are, your business must be something that philosophically and technically could also work Web 2. This is a starting point. Like the idea needs to work, and the tokenomics cannot be the carrying factor to make it work. This is just the smart way of borderless capital, of decentralizing across the globe, of making everything fluent and grinding the gears. And sure, the big challenge for me in tokenomics nowadays is you have to be very cautious. You have to nowadays make tokenomics that you can adjust. 5 years ago, you had to nail it on the spot kind of thing, because everyone was always having this vision like, I have to see that the tokenomics are good, and if you change something later, this is a no-go. Nowadays, you would be out of your mind to not have any puffer zones in your tokenomics design, because you can never predict everything. So you need to design everything cautious, with the big challenge of making something that is sustainable as a business model while still looking enticing for investors and juicy for users. and not miss their expectations, but still go over the time sustainable. I think this is it's a very nice topic, but it's almost complex, endlessly complex. Yeah.
Let me get Mark on this. Do you think that the future tokenomics will be purposefully designed to have this buffer zone? Because it is increasingly becomes complex. Now we have added another layer for this tokenomics disruption, which is like there are KOLs, there are marketeers, VCs, centralized exchanges are asking for a stake in your token. Then there are airdrops and whatnot. And Web3 community also made it complex. Do you think that we are going towards either complete dynamic tokenomics, or we would be designing something where we have a lot more buffer zones?
Well, I think Merlin raises a very interesting point. I mean, not to name names of other DePIN projects because I don't represent them, but what I have seen in the last 12 months, especially in some high-profile DePIN projects, is they're quite slow to announce their tokenomic model. And I think that's very wise, right? I mean, why would you? I think what Merlin's saying is that you shouldn't rush on that, because you need to get it right, and you need to build in that level of flexibility as you find product market fit. So going back to the macro point here, finding product market fit is finding the demand side of your DePIN ecosystem and network, and that takes a lot of time. And of course, as you go down that road and process, as a startup, you start to learn a hell of a lot more as you go along. So it's very unlikely that your tokenomics from day one are going to fit that in day 100 or day 1000. So a good example of that from kind of streamer side is streamer tokenomics are quite standard, you might say, in terms of incentivizing the supply side and as a sort of token of utility for the demand side. But one of the things I'm doing on streamer is I'm building what's called a gateway business to stimulate demand, and essentially it's a decentralized CDN. And it serves a very specific use case within the live video streaming industry, which is, I mean, I won't go into the detail of the pitch around this decentralized CDN, but it's about putting nodes at the edge to support performant live streaming where traditional CDNs can't go because unit economics don't make sense for them to do so. So that kind of advancement or evolution in terms of use case and business model has taken some time to get to, and it's a massive leap forward in terms of understanding versus streamer at the beginning of its journey in 2017, which was quite I don't want to use the word generic because that's not right, but it was a relatively mass proposition within the world of kind of DePIN infrastructure. It's at its core, at its essence, streamer is a decentralized publish, subscribe, pub sub network for real-time data delivery. It's an amazing piece of technology, but in terms of use case, it's broad. It can do many, many, many things. And now, 6 years later, we're building businesses which are delivering on a specific use case in a specific industry. And so, yeah, we're having discussions internally about, how do the tokenomics play, or what's the role of the tokenomics in order to support that gateway business that is now being built on streamer sometime later. So, yeah, I think it's a really, really interesting point. And yeah, if I was a DePIN entrepreneur from day one today, I'd be thinking long and hard about that.
Alicia, Ting, you want to add something to it?
Yeah, and to think out of the box, because when we're talking about the tokenomic, we look at individual project, how we design it, and like a stake to earn, stake to access, and a stable. We have a creative way to think about individual project for tokenomic. So I want to see. I do see there is a case in some very, very well-known a DePIN project. So like collectively, I'm thinking of is there any collective way for the DePIN project to work together to do some staking or whatsoever? So like in collaboration with a lot of DePIN project and also DeFi projects. So so that is so everybody can win and also create a big create big voice on the market. So that is something I think I'm trying to explore. So when we're talking about collective effort, we're talking about marketing, like we do the partnership announcement, and also something like that. We do a partnership announcement with the SkyX network, with the streamer network, and also with the Acronym on the on the side of the marketing part. But what if on the economic side? Just to throw up this question. So try to explore this to
Yeah.
see how does it
That
work.
is beautiful, actually. And neighbors want to go, please.
I think it is beautiful. I mean, for my really fun listening to all of you guys about tokenomics. It's a topic I have really dived into. I think we all have, but I think what you were saying, definitely it's interesting. I mean, you could see it also, I think, Polygon, Polygon Labs with Aglayer, they're now building this liquidity pool to support each other. So they get a massive, uh, big projects to build there. And then if you're smaller, you can actually share that liquidity pool to make sure that the tokenomics doesn't become skewed and then you don't have the liquidity to sustain your project. So I think that's a really cool way of solving that. I think tokenomics is really interesting. And I think what Merlin was saying, like we've seen it 4 or 5 years ago where a project saw it more as bootstrapping. And I think that really needs to go away, to be honest. I think it is important to understand that the tokenomics is there. So I used to be a CTPO for layer one, and there is crucial, right? It's decentralized. We have to have validators and node runners, else you cannot have the decentralization aspect of it. And I think we're seeing that as well. A lot of the projects I talk to, a lot of the projects I read about, it isn't decentralized. Like the whole technology with blockchain and the space we've built is about democratization, is about decentralization, it's about not having one entity owning it. But then we are really lacking in doing that to means, which means how do you get someone enough royalties or enough that they see that I'm actually getting bangs for my bucks for running and operating the system. And that's how you should look at it. And that's the important part of it. And I think what you were saying, Mark, about demand, 100%. But that is also when they come to your project, they have to look at it as I take part of this project, I put my hard earned money into it because I'm getting more back. And I think that's one of the things that is important. I think VCs, like you were mentioning, Jörg, it has in a bit ruined it, right? Like VCs and all the things when you come to raising money and they just dump it. So also for listening in, super important to look at token unlocks. How much have they released day one? When are they gonna bring this tsunami of tokens to us next time? And that's also what you have to think about when you build a project. So some of the projects I advise, one of the things that I think are happening now in the industry is you actually go down on a not too low evaluation, but you don't end up with a super high evaluation. So the VCs then want a way out. And I think that is a smart way of going because then you have steady growth that hopefully the market then can scoop up because they're interested in the project. I think there's a lot there, but at the end of the day, I think it is important to show someone we give you a lot of value back because you're putting your time into this network and it is a job in a way. And that's why the token is there to sustain that.
You see, just to build on that point, I really like that line of thinking. Given what we've seen in the last kind of 12 months, this kind of rancid speculation on coins, and frankly, uneducated speculators getting their fingers burnt with pump and dumps and what have you. Not only has it tarnished the kind of Web3 space, but I feel like there's a tranche of people now in the Web3 space that are looking for something more meaningful, and it's quite refreshing to hear that kind of rhetoric whereby I think we need to remind ourselves as an industry as to why we got into this industry in the first place. It's about permissionless access. It's about decentralization. It's about a better way of doing things. And that spans multiple verticals. But I think for us, DePIN, as the DePIN industry, we have an opportunity to educate and to go out there and say, hey, come and build with this DePIN project and this network and support it, help secure it, help to centralize it, and you will be rewarded handsomely for your efforts. I think that's a really important message in a world where everyone's chasing these, shit coins. This has got to stop because this is this is a cancer for our industry. And I know why I got into blockchain and decentralized technologies, whenever I got into it. And there's so many people in the industry like that. And I think now is the time for us to stand up and say, hey, come and contribute to these DePIN projects. We're doing a good thing. These are really positive projects.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, you're touching a very good point, Mark. I think I see for me, I see things very, to be honest, business-like, right? Like I've had so many talks with founders and executives who's like they laugh at this meme thing that happened, and it did take a lot of liquidity in the market. I mean, we see that also on the chart. So much liquidation because of these meme coins. But I think what we can learn from them is that's the thing. When people think there's money to be made, they will jump on it. So how do you put that into your project, and how do you make them aware that, yeah, but the longer you stick, the more rewards you get, and then teach them about, okay, but what is it about? Um, Also, I think when it comes to deepen, yes, you do definitely need a token. But I also think I've also seen some projects where, going back to the bootstrapping that Merlin was talking about, it's like when you look at the fundamentals of the project, they don't need a token. It's like this is a clear equity play that you should have done with your VC, but now you're putting the token so you can pump the price, get so much money out of the project, and then leave, and you don't really care that it crashes. All of this really needs to go away because it is really ruining the industry that we all love. So I think that's the thing. And also, if you think it is easy to make money today with a token, it's not, because we have so many tokens. So what happened 4 years ago is not what's going to happen today. I think parts of that is, I think the longer you can wait with releasing your token, if you don't have to have it, that's also good to think about it, create that thought process about what it is, how do we go about it. So when you roll it out, it makes a lot of sense.
But yeah, I want to
So
actually also.
yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Malin.
I need to ingest myself here because it's like it's just too interesting. Like, I think with the tokenomics, it's a very multifaceted thing, especially when we dive down the rabbit hole of like meme coins. Without getting too far off the topic, the thing is there, if you really look at it from a very simplistic standpoint, then you could make a very strange argument about how real meme coins have one of the purest tokenomics, because usually you don't have so many different party corporate involvement allocations in there, and it's usually just like they get original meme coins, not those we saw in the last months. Like they would just be pushed out and the community behind it is supposed to carry that weight. Okay, so far so fine. But the other part of it is it's not just pure, but it is also PvP. It is nothing else like a game of crushing each other for the exit out of it. And this is like, I believe in blockchain and Web3 so much that I can, like, especially to what Nibra said, like, I think a good project, a good sustainable modern project within this technology field needs a token and needs tokenomics, but the tokenomics will be good at that moment when nobody speaks about it anymore. Things nowadays should be like it. The thing is, if you look at an Apple, at a good Apple iPhone, like currently everyone likes the 16 Pro because it does the best videos. You don't really want to understand the M18 processor of it. You just want what everyone says is the best phone and use it and be fine with it. And a little bit like this, it should be, and we need to progress to this part with tokenomics, where kind of in the end, while both is crypto, meme coins and DePIN doesn't have anything to do with each other anymore, because like as the end user, I am having a device that can compete with other things on the market, like a regular customer product, and I need an app that is as good as an app from Google or something, and I just want things to work. And this is also very funny about what Nibra said, like you don't want to have, like, I am very fine with seed phrases. I have a weird fascination with it. I love this part of crypto, but we will not get there as long as technology is in this state of like, you have this one aspect that makes you feel like a caveman or a cave woman. Like, things have to be like as everything else. You just want the things to work, and everything should be in the background, and you want to understand in the end, I am getting something out of it and it works. But it has to dive down a lot. And my hope, Mark made some nice offhanded comments between the lines about meme coins without being too brutal, but I have a similar opinion, like in the sense that I look at this whole thing and I just wanted to go down the drain, because like I think it's like big capital investment companies, VCs, investors will currently sometimes look at this and say, look, just see the value which is bundled in DePIN and in network infrastructure or AI new projects there, and then look at the meme coin. There's the money. But this is not the reality. The reality is the money is there for 2% of the people participating, which do the smart exit pull, and it's just a constant burning mechanism. It's just like, it's the easiest entry to crypto. It's burning over 90% of people out before they can get a foothold in the interesting parts of it. And it's just a constant grinder that burns everything in a way, if you really want to be very sarcastic about it. And I just hope that like the recent big ones are a learning lesson, and somehow this has to shift towards technology. And then we have, maybe, I hope, a window of 1 year of maybe really talking a lot about tokenomics and what is smart and what is good. But eventually it has to be in the background. It has to be the underlying technology, and things have to work with good tokenomics. But a real decentralized user, should be only in this if he is fascinated by it. But there needs to be this appeal to people for real adoption, that it is like everything is smooth. I just know it works. And if I know it works and I get value out of what I am providing as a service, as a human node, then it should be fine. I shouldn't really need to inspect this, to like look into every detail and what. But we are not yet there. We are not yet there, but we have to get there.
I don't want to be. I need to go in like 3 minutes, so I just wanted to point that out. But just last thing on that is, I think what Felicia actually touched on, in my opinion, a really important part, and that is how can you make a project. So going back to working a layer once is interesting. I've got that question so many. Like, how do you make money? And then I laugh. It's like, hey, it's non-profit. We don't really make money. We make money by the token going up. I think that is what's breaking a lot of the industry, if I'm honest. I think what Felicia was talking about, like a lot of the PTE projects now are actually proving that they can sustain themselves with the technology they're building. And I think if we get more and more of real projects proving that they actually can make money and that this is going out to mainstream adoption, the token will almost become like a stock. That's how I vision it. Like you have an IPO of a company. If the company goes well, stock goes up. If the company goes down, stock goes down. Well, except Nvidia today because they beat earnings yesterday, guys. Why is the stock not going up? Okay, that's a different discussion. But and I think that's where we need to get to. I think the point with meme that Marlon touched base on is I've also like some DJs have also been like, yeah, but they want to punish VCs because memes release all their tokens day one. So you don't actually get this bullshit over you. And that also happened this year where they almost want to punish VCs and get them like laughing in a way. So all of these things, I think we are in a mature era now. I think crypto, blockchain will be very different in 3, 4 years. We have so much institutions coming into the play now, a lot of TradFi, that this will be of the past. But I do think we need to see the token as it needs to be there because else we cannot run the system. And if you run a node, if you are validated, we reward you for that. But the second part is if you actually can prove that you always beat our expectation earning, it's going to be seen as a stock in a way. and that's why you hold it as well, right? And I think that's where we need to get to. So founders don't feel stressed. I need to get my token up. We need to liquidate some of our tokens to maintain this project. And I think that's the mindset we need to shift away from in order for this to be more sustainable.
I think Nivras touched a very important point. And I have personally known a few founders that are actually putting money in their token. This ecosystem is not earning from it, you know. So sometimes you ask, why have you launched a token? There is a lot of pressure also on projects to launch a token. And I think one of the best example when, ag layer, you were talking about Nibras, I think many of the ecosystem are exploring that idea that if certain projects do not require a token, can it be a common pool token between few projects as well, you know? So till we transition to a stock system, can this be very demand and supply driven? And can it be truly a reward economics rather than, tokenomics designed for the VCs and or for speculation?
I'll take that question
Please come in.
from here. I think for the future of tokenomics is gonna evolve as we have seen the history of how crypto has been evolving since the birth of Bitcoin. I think you have the proof of work at the beginning, and then we see proof of stake, and then so on and so forth. And then you have NFT concept and getting involved in other stakeholders in the place. So it's already we've seen that the tokenomics of crypto has been evolving since the beginning, depending on who is coming into the space and playing in the field. And second of all, I think crypto has been a gate that opens to like really normal people who did not even have any financial background of how capitalism works in a market where they can trade, they can buy stocks or owning company equities. How does that work? If you are not certified professional investors, you're not be able to invest in certain companies at the beginning. As for example, if early on you wanted to invest at Airbnb or Uber, you have no capital to be an credit investor to access. But however, crypto has allowed people to invest, and so that's why we've seen like pump and dumps and etc. I think, and then we see, governments are banning. Still, we have certain governments still banning crypto as something that is illegal. But then we've seen recently U.S. what's happening in the U.S. And this trend is going to also, like regulation is going to bring new stakeholders in the crypto space. And so how do we incentivize different stakeholders? And it's a question for projects. It's a question for DePIN projects. It's a question for even meme coins, because for example, government organizations can be part of the DAO that we were talking about. How do you create incentivized, DAO tokenomics to participating in government voting or NGOs voting process? So there will be new creativities and new creations of how tokenomics work in different situations and for different participants. And so for me, it's going to evolve, I think, and I'm very positive of how crypto is going to evolve in the future. And we will see pump and dumps, but that is something that we cannot avoid, because that's how the market works. I mean, even for the stock market, similar things happens every single day. So it's how we deal with it as investors. What is our risk You need to know your risk, how much you can lose when you invest in a project that can be, can be very new. So that's my take.
Beautiful. Before we close, I would just like to know, single sentence, what are the future of tokenomics?
Ever evolving.
Very
That
good.
is good. I can toss an easy one in there. The future of tokenomics will have to do something with AI. Low hanging fruit.
Well, yeah, a lot of logarithmic methods.
100%.
Nivras,
I think
I
I
think
touched base on a little of it, right? So for me, I think it is about almost merging it in so it's understandable that it's seen as a both utility, but also almost like a stock in a way. Like I think projects will need to show that they are attractive and that they are in a way self-funding before they sell a vision. I think that's what we're going to see. And then the tokenomics becomes the engine to fuel the decentralization in a way, which it was meant to be for. So, guys,
obviously.
I'm 15 minutes late. This was too fun. So I was texting texting the other meeting that I'll be late. Super fun to be here. Thank you everyone for listening in. Thank you for having me. I was also writing in the group chat that if anyone needs a wallet, just ping me and we'll book that call in. We'd love to support your really amazing project. This was a super interesting call. I love DePIN and I think it's super fascinating. I can't wait to see what's going to happen in a couple of years when we roll all of these projects out, to be honest.
Thank you for joining, Nivras, and thank you everybody for joining. And we'll get you again. So till then, see
Okay.
you and
Thank
Thank you.
good
you.
night.
thank you,
Good night.
everyone.